What's going on, guys? Joe McCall here, Real Estate Investing Mastery Podcast. I have a special guest on today. You guys know him. Jamil Damji is in the house. I'm going to bring him on here in just a minute. We're going to be talking about an event that I'm going to, and it's on April 23rd through 25th called the Squad Up Summit. Unless you've been hiding under a rock, you've seen Pace and Jamil talk about this for a long time, and they're going to have one of my favorite authors, Donald Miller, there as well. It's going to be April 23rd to the 25th. I want to invite you guys to come to it. I'm going to be there. www.squadupsummit.com. This is going to be a game changer. This is going to be a really, really big event. It's going to be the premier event in the real estate investing space. And it's going to be in Orlando, Florida. I might be a speaker. Don't know yet. We're working out those little kinds of details planned out. I'm going to be there. And so even if I'm not going to be speaking, I'm going to be just hanging out there. And I'd love to hang out with you guys as well. But go check it out, www.squadupsummit.com. Pace and Jamil are going to be the two main speakers. And Donald Miller, who wrote the book Story Brand, which is a fantastic, great book on simple business strategies. And there's some other speakers there. It's going to be a big, big event, couple, 2,000-3,000 people. It's going to be a great event to come to network and just hang out with cool people. And I'm looking forward to seeing you there. So also, one thing I want to announce real quick. This Saturday and every Saturday for the near foreseeable future, I'm going to be doing some brand new workshops on if I were to start all over again from scratch and create a new business in a brand new market that I've never done deals in before. I'm going to be pulling back the curtain and showing you exactly what I would do step by step. And I'm calling it the Land Fast Start Masterclass. And coming up this Saturday, and even if you're watching this later on down the road, you go to joemccall.com/Saturday. This is a $7 workshop where I'm going to be showing you everything I do. And live, I'm going to be showing you picking a market, finding the buyers, finding the sellers, starting a marketing campaign, direct mail and cold calling. And we're going to actually be calling sellers, calling realtors, and we're going to be making offers in a brand new market. And you get to watch me do it for just $7. Go right now to joemccall.com/Saturday. All right. Can we bring Jamil on finally? Jamil.
Hey,
how you
what's
doing,
up,
man?
bro?
Good to see you.
Good to see you as always, man. You look. Can I just say, I know you've been really working on yourself, but man, did you just how did you reverse in aging? You look like you're like 35. What's going on?
I feel like I'm 35. You know?
Yeah.
Those of you that
You
don't
look
know,
phenomenal, dude.
I had major open heart surgery about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And I had my aortic valve replaced. And I knew Jamil, we were friends before and after. And you and I both have lost a lot of weight. You look really young as well. But I'm just feeling really good. It was a congenital defect in my heart that I had since a baby. I didn't know about it. But I've lost about 40 pounds. I'm walking a lot more and I'm golfing a lot more. And you should have played with us the other day when I was in Phoenix. I played 18 holes at the Phoenician with Cody Sperber.
Nice, dude.
It had a blast. It was. I love golfing in Phoenix. So you need to pick up some sticks, Jamil, and let's play together sometime.
Yeah, I purposely evade golfing situations because I enjoy people liking and respecting me, and the moment they see me pick up a golf club is when all of that disappears. And so I just know that it's like the fastest way to be mocked and ridiculed. So I just, every time there's a golfing situation, I'm busy.
Wait a sec. So you will do ads and Instagram reels, videos of you in like no shirt, blue dye, right? But you won't play golf.
No, because here's the thing, right? I'm so bad. Like I am so bad at golf that when I hit the ball, it goes behind me.
Oh, well, that is pretty bad. But I bet you're not as bad as you think you are. You need to give yourself a little grace. But, you can start from anywhere. So, hey, would you introduce yourself? I know everybody knows you, but would you kind of talk about who you are? Where'd you come from?
Absolutely, man. So Jamil Damji here. Been a wholesaler for a couple of decades. I founded one of the larger wholesale operations in the country, Keegley, nationally franchised company now in over 100 markets. We're a volume wholesaler, meaning that we, do a lot of transactions every month. My corporate stores will average 60 to 80 deals in a month. and then my franchises in the hundreds, right? And so it's wholesaling is in my DNA. I started wholesaling without any training, so I kind of bootstrapped my business in the beginning. Thought I had invented wholesaling, and came to find out later on I hadn't. Somebody else had done this many decades prior. But I figured it out from learning how to connect the dots by contacting an attorney and trying to solve a problem that I was in, in a transaction, and it changed my life. Right, I was able to generate millions of dollars in revenue and profits, and because I have this unique way that I source deals from more of a relationship standpoint versus a transactional standpoint, I've been very fortunate that our business has continued to escalate and grow because we are relationship based. We've been able to compound results and success over the years, and today I have this business that I don't even need to go to anymore. I do go to the office and I work. I'm still involved in deals. I like being involved in deals because it keeps me nimble and it keeps me sharp and it keeps me involved in understanding of where the market is. I don't have to. My business is so robust now, and there's just so much transaction volume that if I just decided not to do anything anymore, it would continue to generate millions of dollars, and my life would be very easy. But because I've been able to be successful in wholesaling, I know how important it is to have financial freedom in our lives, and I have made the transition from living from a position of survival where you're just trying to get the basic necessities figured out to where you have the time to start to understand and ask yourself the deeper questions in life, like, why am I here? And one of the things that I feel I'm here for is to be able to teach people and show people how real estate investing can change their lives. And
Yeah.
because of that, I've been able to build a community of wholesalers that we're over 5,000 deep now in astro flipping. It's led me to one of the greatest collaborations in my life with Pace Morby, my best friend. And he's a teacher to me in many ways, and him and I's relationship go back near a decade as well. And it's led me to a national TV show. It's led me to a great amount of success online, and I'm just so grateful, man. I'm friendships like you. I had always been an admirer of you, and this is in the early days. I would watch Joe McCall, and I watch how earnest you are and how great you are at what you do, and how many lives you've impacted. And I remember when I first had an opportunity to meet you at Family Mastermind, I was really impressed with how humble you are and just how down to earth you, for somebody that has impacted so many people. You're just such a real awesome guy, and it also gave me a permission at that moment and then in those days to say, you know what, you don't have to be a D-bag to be a public figure and help folks. You can actually do this with a kind heart and genuine personality and get out there and do it. And I have been fortunate that I didn't lose myself in this process, but I'm really enjoying life. I'm really enjoying what's happening right now, and I'm excited for this event coming in April.
That's awesome. Hey, will you just say that same thing you just said to Barry and Blue?
Of course.
Oh, will you? Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get myself into it. Just a 15. Give me 5 minutes. I'd love to teach.
I love you, Joe. I think you're just one of the greatest guys in the business, and I'll advocate for you in a million different ways.
Thank you so much. And we're talking about the Squad Up Summit here. If you go to www, I don't know if you might have to type in the www, but
yeah,
squadupsummit.com, April 23rd to the 25th in Orlando, Florida. It's the biggest real estate investing event of the year. And I want to see you guys there because I'm going to be there. And I love to hang out with you guys and just learn some cool things, network with some people. You're going to find people that you're going to do deals with at this event. You're going to find lenders, private money partners. You're going to find a lot of people here, and you want to be there for this. Okay, let's talk about astro flipping. Just real quick. How did you come? I've always wanted to ask you this, and I never have. How did you come up with astro flipping?
It comes from this analogy of being in space, right? We know in space there's no friction, there's no gravity. And without friction and gravity, if you were to just say start a somersault, right? If you're deep in outer space and you started a somersault, you have no friction, you have no gravity. That somersault would just go and go and go and go and go. So this concept of being able to, continue to flip without friction, without weight, without anything holding you back, is where the seed of astro flipping was born. And it comes from this process of looking at the business from a relationship standpoint versus a transactional standpoint. And that was where I think I differed and I diverged in my process from a lot of the folks who do this business and from jump. I'm a lazy man, right? And I like to do things efficiently and I like to do things once, And so the way that I saw it was, look, if I'm and I had seen people doing direct mail. I was receiving the mailers myself. I saw bandit signs out there, and I would see people cold calling and all of the different modalities that absolutely work. None of these modalities are outdated or terrible. Some of them are a little bit more expensive than others, but they all generate deals, they all generate money, and they all work. So that let's say that right out the gate. But what I haven't ever found is a seller, like a homeowner, who's in a distress situation, right? Who we are targeting based off of pain points and distress, have an opportunity to do business with me more than one time. And because of that, I saw that every time I had to do another deal, I had to start from scratch again. That means, initial contact, to build rapport, to build trust, to follow up, 8 to 13 touches. And then finally I get an appointment, and then finally I get a contract, and then finally I get some money. And then it's done, and I got to do this all over again. And to me, that just felt like climbing Everest every day.
Yeah.
Right. And that's hard, right? Because it's difficult to build rapport. It's difficult to get the deal. It's, nothing is easy. And we all have to really work hard, and we have to be really on point. We have to understand and be organized and know our processes and our KPIs in order to create consistency in this business. But at that same token, right, I was looking for a way for this not to be so heavy. How can I do this where I feel like I'm doing business with my friends? How can I do this in a way that I don't feel like I have to start over again every time I finish a deal? And it dawned on me, right, that if I created a situation where I turn this into a relationship-based business, I would really win. I could scale that because I couldn't see the mechanism to scale direct to seller in a way that could let me do this nationally. I didn't have the budget for it, and I wasn't Homevestors, right? I didn't have this, $100 million war chest where I could just spend millions of dollars on billboards and bus ads and all the things. I'm just a guy, right? So I started with this idea that why don't I make myself the person in Phoenix, Arizona that real estate agents trusted for a cash offer? Right. And what if I did it in a way that I was so ethical and I performed on, almost every one of my transactions? And if I didn't perform, it wasn't because I wasn't able to find a buyer. It was because there was something materially wrong with the property. Right?
Yeah.
And so what if I created for myself a reputation that preceded me, where I could create relationships with hundreds, if not, thousands of real estate agents, where I could now start receiving deals inbound, and where my past success would indicate my future success, which would mean I would have deals brought to me instead of me having to bring myself to the deal. And it worked. I started creating these relationships, and they started really trusting me, and they started bringing me deal 2, deal 3, deal 4. In fact, when we're done our podcast today, I get to eat lunch with Monique Walker, one of my best friends in Arizona. I do 10, 12 deals with her a month.
Wow.
Yeah, a month, right? Wow. And we, on average, she makes $15,000 and I make $15,000 on average per deal, right? So just say that if it's a bad month and we do 10 deals, one relationship pays me $150,000 a month. All I would ever have to do is pick up her phone calls, and I'm in a 6-figure per month situation. But do that with 100 agents, do that with 1,000 agents, do that nationally, and now you've got yourself a business, right? And so astro flipping is the art of understanding how to do this on a relationship basis. And so not only did we create this modality where we work with real estate agents and create that relationship and explode that model, but we also provide a solution for wholesalers, right? Because one of the things that I noticed was happening in the industry was a lot of training on YouTube. A lot of people were teaching folks how to cold call. Brent Daniels, Brent Daniels fed me so much business because, and yourself too, all you guys who are really good on the phones, really good at teaching people how to do lead generation. These guys would get out there and they would really focus heavily on acquisitions, and they'd get out there and they get a deal. And then they didn't know what to do. Right? They're like, well, now what? Right? And of course, you teach people how to find buyers, and I know you do that, and I know Brent teaches people how to find buyers. But when you get so heavily focused on getting the deal, but now you have it, right? Your first few times when you get a deal under contract, having a ready and willing, able buyer at your fingertips is typically not possible, right? So you usually build one aspect of your business first, and then you start building the other aspect of your business next. And so what I found was a lot of folks, they come in and they focus heavily on acquisitions in the beginning, and then, they need to JV those deals in order to disposition them so that they can start to generate revenue, start to hire people, and then maybe start building a buyer's list. And so there's this sweet spot in a wholesaler's journey where collaboration is necessary.
Yeah.
And I would see so many wholesalers cancel their deals that were really viable, good deals, because they didn't have buyers available to them. And that's where we found a disruptive event, right? Because when we saw that there were all these wholesalers canceling deals, which was then negatively impacting the industry because people were getting angry, agents were getting angry, sellers were, being left in the dust. They would be packed up, U-Hauls packed up, sitting there on closing day, waiting for their deal to fund and close. They didn't hear from the wholesaler, and so they think everything is fine. And then they call title and say, what's going on? And they're like, nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean nothing? I'm packed. I'm in a U-Haul right now. I've already rented a place. I'm supposed to be on the other side of the country tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this story wasn't rare. This story was happening all the time. And so we found that if we built a dispositions superstore where people could come, bring their active contract to us, and we could honestly help them understand the math, understand the numbers, and then pair that with a buyer that we had vetted over time and that we had cultivated relationships with, that we could fill a necessary need. And that's what we did, right? And so
That's
Keegley,
awesome.
which, has definitely been a part of how astro flipping came to be, because the beautiful thing about astro flipping is that I've got all these franchises across the nation who love working with other wholesalers, right? So how great is it that I get to train the wholesalers who then feed the franchises, who then, grow each other at the same time. So it's this incredible ecosystem of, come on in the door, let me show you what to do, and then we show you what to do, and then we pair you with a franchise, and then you guys build a relationship, and eventually you'll go off on your own and do your own thing, but you'll be rich when you start doing that. You'll have hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, and you'll have the freedom and the flexibility to be your own person. And ultimately, I think that's what we want, right? None of us want to go back to a job that, where we feel underappreciated, where we're building somebody else's dream. No offense to the people, because I've got people in my company who work for me building my dream, and I don't knock them for it, but I'm very honest about what it is. And they know what they're doing too. They prefer a 9-to-5 so that when they get home at 5, off switch goes on and they don't have to take stress out. They don't take stress home. And that's great for some people.
Right.
But it wasn't for me. Right. I way rather work 12 hours a day, but it be for me.
Yeah.
And that's just what we're doing.
Real similar story that I had where I was working a lot. I had an acquisitions manager and a dispositions manager and an assistant handling. I was doing tons of outbound marketing, getting real frustrated. And I talked to Kent Clothier, a mutual friend. I'm sure you know him.
Love him.
He's like, dude, why don't you go find the buyers first? And he has a strategy called reverse wholesaling, he called it. And I thought, that's interesting. And he said, yeah, it's always easier to sell buyers what they want rather than what you have. Right. So I said, all right, I went back to the drawing board. This was 2012. I was wholesaling a lot of houses back then with direct-to-seller marketing. And we just changed one little thing. We started finding out who the buyers were that were buying deals in other states. Like we're in St. Louis. We were looking for buyers who were buying out of state in Indianapolis, in Memphis, Tennessee, in Cleveland, Ohio, that were buying turnkey rental properties. And we started sending them marketing. And we're saying, hey, if you're looking for more deals, call us. And that letter would go to our cell phone number. And we started marketing for buyers who had the money. Because I started thinking, like, who are the customers in this business? And the customers are not the sellers. And that's who I was focusing on. The customers are the buyers with the money. And so we started focusing on finding buyers. And then what we started doing, we started building relationships with realtors, with other wholesalers, with investors and property managers, anybody in the business. And within about a week or 2 weeks, we had a Rolodex of Rolodex. What's a Rolodex? We had a catalog, an
catalog,
address book.
Yeah.
We had an address book of 150, 200 people in the business. All right. And this is what we started doing. This is just blows me away still thinking about it. We went from doing, 25 deals a year, about 2 deals a month, to 100 deals a year. Wow. We stopped all of our seller marketing, and we had now these buyers, and we knew how much money they had and what they were looking for. And so we became the new hedge fund in town that had $1 million burning a hole in our pocket. And this is what we did. We started sending emails every week to everybody in our database. Emails, sometimes text, but mainly emails. Hey, we've got $1 million. We're looking for deals. Do you have anything? What have you got? We're looking for deals in these zip codes, that in this price range, that rent for this. Send us what you've got. And pretty soon we had so many people bringing us deals, that the wholesalers that they had under contract, they had a week to close and they were freaking out because they didn't have a buyer yet for it. We had realtors bringing us leads that were like, if I could just make $500 on this deal, I don't even have to make anything. Please just help take care of my client, right? And just like that, practically overnight, within a couple months, we had so many more deals, people bringing them to us because we had the money. And not literally, but we had the buyers. So we became a networker, as it were. And we went from maybe 25 deals a year to 100 deals a year. So we 4 times our business and stopped doing any outbound seller marketing. Guess what? That still works today. It's amazing, isn't it? It's so simple.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I mean, we actually have the same story, because that's exactly what we did, right? You and I did the same thing in tandem in 2 different states. And it works. It doesn't matter where you take the strategy, guys. Yeah. It doesn't matter where you can do the strategy in Phoenix, Arizona, which is one of the most competitive markets in the United States. Yeah. You can take the strategy in Indianapolis, which is competitive, but it's a different market. It's not so fix and flip. It's buy and hold. You can do this in St. Louis. You can do this in Arkansas. You can do this in Seattle. This is it is. But here's the thing. You know what you can't be in this vertical? You can't be opportunistic, you can't be unethical, and you can't be a liar. All right. This model is a reputation-based model, 100%. Meaning that you have to know your stuff. You got to know your numbers. You can't BS people. You got to be able to have the highest level of integrity, because your name is your currency and people trust you. And so when you put your name out there and you commit to something, you close that. And I have had situations where I've closed deals that I've committed to that I have lost money on. And I knew I was going to lose money on it before sending the wire. But I performed on the deal anyways, because my deal is a deal. A shake is a shake. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. 100%. And that's one of the things that you have to understand is, if you're going to take this relationship-based model, understand this relationship goes both ways, that people need to be able to rely and count on you. So be that person. And if you're brand new and you don't have access to funds, right? If you're like, well, Jamil, I want to be like this, but I don't have the money to be this, then partner with a guy like Joe, partner with a guy like me, partner with a Keegley franchise, partner with people that you can count on and that you can trust, that will perform and get it done, because then their prowess, then their success, then their integrity will transfer onto you. And that relationship that you build with the people that you're building it with, they don't know Joe wrote the check. They don't know Jamil wrote the check. They don't know Keegley sent the wire. They just know that they've been working with you and what you said happened.
That's why community is so important. And this is something that you and Pace have done so well with over the years, is building a community of people like this that you guys can do deals with. And talk about this a little bit. The community you've built, it's amazing to me how you have students, friends, clients in this community that are doing deals together Did you start out knowing that that would happen, or how did you figure that out? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so it's interesting because it's funny. Today, somebody said to me, "Hey, there's a gentleman interested in doing a podcast with you, and I'm not going to say any names. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "No, I don't." And they were like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, the last time I talked to this man, he's really scarce minded, right? Like it's like there's not enough. Everybody's out to get you. I got to hoard my deals. I got to hoard my knowledge. I've got to hoard, hoard, hoard. Stay away, stay away, stay away. Knife in the back, knife in the back. And I'm going to knife you before you knife me kind of thing." Now,
Yeah.
look, this is what wholesaling was. This is what the entire industry was once upon a time. So I'm not blaming that guy for having that mentality. He just comes from a different time zone. He comes from a world in a time when where that's what success required. It required you to be protective and closed off and have to, worry about who's going to steal your strategy or who's going to take your deal. Here's the problem with that, right? That that energy begets more of that energy. And when you are working from a perspective of lack, when you work from a perspective of scarcity, you'll just find more lack and scarcity. And I don't believe in the Newtonian physics approach to business. And what I mean by that is that's force equals mass times acceleration, meaning I gotta kick in the door to get in it. I've gotta everything I do requires, physical effort and I one step, one step, one step, one step. This concept of manifesting, this concept of alignment, this concept of being able to do things in a more holistic manner just wasn't accepted at that time. But I believe that entrepreneurship is a spiritual process. I do. I think that success is built from the inside out. And because of that, community is a natural element of that type of model, that type of thinking, where we take ourselves out of the base of survival, where we're just trying to make it. And we start working from a more heart centered aspect, where we're looking at our people around us as brothers and sisters and as collaborators and as people that we care about and that we want to see win in addition to ourselves winning. And when you come from that perspective, community is a natural byproduct of that. And what we learned was that one of the harder things was that people are not on the timeline that you want them to be. People are on the timeline that life presents them and that they are open to being in. One of the things that Pace and I early on adopted is in our communities, right, was that if somebody joined astro flipping, um, or like for instance some other coaching product or whatever, or mentorship, they would typically have these time limits on them. Like they'd say, okay, 6 months, you got access for 6 months. After 6 months, you got to go because new people will be coming in. It'll be just too difficult to continue to service you and the new people that are coming in a way that's going to be beneficial to the new people, so that they feel like they're getting what they're paying for, which is fair. That's a fair thought, right? But the way we looked at it was like, okay, hold on a second, right? What if we just removed all of that? Like, no time limit. Once you're a part of this community, you're always a part of this community. But if I do that, if I lift that gate, if I say that once you're an astro flipper, you're always an astro flipper. Once you're in sub two, you're always in sub two. And because Pace and I are so close, we lifted the gate between our communities as well, and we just let people walk back and forth and work with each other all the time because that's just what we do, right?
Yeah.
And so when we saw that we could rely on people that we helped, right? So now that John Gallan, he's somebody in my community, right? I knew from the day I met him, this guy was special, unique, different, right? Came into the community. He was a chartered accountant, uh, asked really insightful questions, and was consistent. I knew this guy was going to go somewhere with it, right? And over time, he's now built a business where he's doing 150 to $200,000 a month in deals, and he's scaling now. He's going to nationally franchise as well. He's coming to be my competitor, which is awesome, right? We collaborate anyways. We do deals between each other always. So it means nothing to me that we'll have competing brands. That's totally fine. But in that story, in that space, he is such a valuable asset to the community, and he owes so much of his success to the community that he now shares the burden of helping and growing people and making people accountable and helping people stay accountable and consistent in it.
That's
So
awesome.
now there's not just Jamil who's having to help the people that are in the community. Now there's Jamil, John, Michelle,
Yeah,
all of these people
that's so powerful.
and it's just, and it became an army. And yeah, last night, I live streamed this on my YouTube channel if anybody cares to watch it. But I sit on a Tuesday night. Okay, I do a coaching call with the Astro community every Tuesday and every Sunday. My Tuesday call goes 5 to 6 hours. I answer every question. We go until midnight, and I start at 5. And on my Sunday call, it's the same thing, right? So when they see that the person who's making millions of dollars, and it doesn't need to be here this long, right? We all expect that he should. In fact, when they sign the contract that they're coming into Astro Flipping, the contract says that my call lasts 1 hour twice a week. That's what they think they're getting. When they come in, they get 10x that. And we don't sell them that. That's a gift. It's a bonus for them when they don't realize it when they're coming into the community that this is what they're going to get. They just end up getting it. And they're like, what is happening here? Why is this like this? Why is he like this? And it comes down to, Joe, what I've realized is that, and you know this because you're a successful, wealthy man. The last thing you bought, what did it do for you?
I don't remember.
Yeah. It's nothing, right? Like the toys stop meaning anything. The homes don't mean anything. The vacations, their experiences, and their fun, right? And those are cool, right? But like even that, right? I can have just as much fun with my people hanging out at home in my backyard and having a pool day with the family instead of having to go to a fancy hotel to do that. And realizing that material items were not going to fulfill me at all. That there wasn't a Rolls Royce, Ferrari, McLaren, Rolex, or property that was going to fill a hole in my soul that I have, other than finding my purpose and living it. And the community serves my purpose. It lets me feel like why I'm here matters. And the same with Pace, and the same with you. You understand this. Every person you've helped, Joe, every time somebody sends you an email and says, Joe, thank you for changing my life. Because of you, I was able to do this with my daughter or this with my son. I was able to give this to my wife. I was able to do this with our parents. I was able to retire my mom. Every time you get an email like that or a call like that or a text like that from somebody you've impacted, that feeling is so much greater than buying something. That
100%.
It just changes you. It changes your chemistry. It changes the way your brain is wired, and I think it's why we're here.
Oh, I totally love that. Which is why you're doing squatupsummit.com. And I just thought of something. I hope it's okay to do this. I don't think you'll mind. Anybody who signs up watching this video now or in the future, if you go to squatupsummit.com, sign up for this event, April 23rd to the 25th. I'm going to give you my $1,500 lease options course for free.
Damn.
I'm just going to give it to you.
Dude, thank you.
Why not?
Wow.
Because you've convicted me of being more of a go-giver. Because if there's anybody in the industry that is a go-giver, it's Pace and Jamil. And so I thought, let's do it. I'm going to anybody. So what you're going to do is if you go to www.squatupsummit.com, send a receipt to support@joemccall.com. Then I'll send you access to my course. It's my simple lease options course. And it's how to do wholesaling lease option deals, sandwich lease option deals, straight up option deals, and all that good stuff. Okay.
My goodness.
I sell it for $2,500 on my website. When I do a webinar, I sell it for $1,500. You're going to get it for free if you go sign up for Squat Up Summit and then send me a receipt to support@joemccall.com.
That is incredibly generous of you, Joe. Thank you.
So talk about this event, Jamil. Here's the most important, valuable thing, and what I'm looking forward to is the community that we're talking about here, is the networking, is the just getting together with other like-minded individuals who do not have that scarcity mindset mentality, right? Who are there to serve, to squad up, right? So talk about what the theme of this event is and why you're doing it.
Perfect. So, as you know, there is a love affair. It's like, the two communities between astro flipping and sub two, there's a massive amount of synergy between those two communities. And we didn't, we're not just catering to those communities. This is for the entire industry, right? But one of the things that happens within those communities is this incredible collaborative spirit where people are just trading deals amongst each other in just the most dramatic and accelerated way. So we figured, why not put 3,000 of those guys in one room, right? 3,000 real estate investors in one room, and then allow them to blow their network up in a 10x fashion, right? Because right now they're all doing really well, but they've got a handful of people that are their closest besties and the ones that they always work with. And it's like, okay, fine, you're making $50,000 a month with this handful of people. What if that handful of people became this? What does that do to your business first, right? So from the networking standpoint, even if you don't come and listen to a single session, even if you don't come and take any notes, even if you just, completely ignore what is being provided to you in terms of information at the event, and you came just for the networking, just for the breaks, just for lunch and dinner, and just collected people, you would massively improve your business. And I mean, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, just based off the people that you would meet that would do JV deals with you, that would add revenue to your bottom line, first and foremost. Now, one of the things that Pace has invented is this avatar model that I have, of course, adopted into the Astro community. And it's based and predicated on the idea that not all of us are the same, right? And you notice this when people have come into your vortex, Joe, is you'll get an extroverted, visionary style person. You'll get somebody who comes in who's very systems oriented and very organized, but not very extroverted, a little bit reserved. You get those people that are like the glue of a community, and they're connectors. They're really great at connecting the dots, but they don't like being the dots themselves. You get those other people who are like, you know what? I don't really have a lot of time to do much, but I've got money and I'd like to passively invest in deals. And, I want to be involved as a private money lender, but I don't really want to get on the phone and talk to agents or talk to people. So how do I invest in opportunities and participate that way? And so there's these avatars that Pace has identified. And there's, there's a little over a dozen avatars that the people in the REI world fall into. What we're going to do in this event is we're going to create groupings of those avatars. And what's beautiful of those avatars is they all need other avatars to succeed. And so now when you know who you are, when you know what you're classified as, and you know what you need, and you know that the group of people you need is right there, you get a straight beeline to who those individuals are. And that, first of all, is going to be one of the most powerful opportunities to connect the dots, because you're going to have identified what dot you are, and then you're going to understand what dot you need, and we're going to draw the straight line between you and that dot. So that's going to happen. Secondly, when you think about the level of sophistication that has been able to be developed from building Keegley, from Pace building Sub 2, from the $100 million worth of assets he purchased last year, and how do you create cash flow, and how do you create organization, and how do you make that type of asset acquisition not bury you in stress? And so from a tactical point of view, we're going to help people understand scale from a perspective they haven't quite yet understood. So scale is going to be one of the major components of this event. But then we've also realized that in what we do, if we're not impacting, if we're not sharing, and if we're not creating for ourselves our brand, and if we're not telling our story in a way that is A, shareable, B, resonant, and C, authentic, that we're leaving a really core aspect of what our purpose in life is here to be, and that's stewards for other human beings. And so, on top of scale, which is one of our key components of this event, it's this idea of impact. And how do we help people in impact? Pace and I have done a phenomenal job of being able to go from relative obscurity to national presence in a very short amount of time. One of the major questions that gets asked to both of us is how? How did you guys do it? Like, what did you hire a company? Did you, like, what in the F did you guys do to blow like that? What was that? Was there a strategy in social media? Was there, like, what was it? What was the 1-2 punch that created it? And there is a formula. Pace and I have a formula on what it took, and it wasn't easy, but it works. And so impact and helping people understand how they can grow themselves and grow their business from an impact perspective is going to absolutely be the next component of what this event is going to really dive into. And then lastly, when we're talking about once you've gotten to that point where, for instance, let's talk about that gentleman that I talked about earlier, John Galan, right? Now he's making over $1 million a year. There comes a point where you and I have experienced this, where the money doesn't matter anymore. It just doesn't, because we have enough income coming in. All of our needs are met. All of our bills are paid, right? But how do we give back? How do we impact the greater community, not just the REI community, but how do we impact the greater community in a way that we know that a legacy of our spiritual legacy is protected and actually being grown from what we're doing here with our lives. And that's another major aspect of what we'll be diving into in Squad Up Summit, because one of the things that Pace and I have been able to really do in our success is help a lot of people. And it's something that we don't publicize on our social media. It's like, you've never seen me out there doing a charitable work and then having it publicized for people to see. Not because I don't think it's important that people share or know about this stuff, but because from a dignity perspective, I've never been a fan of hey guys, watch me help this guy, but instead of making case study examples out of people that are on their, in a tough situation, how about showing people and teaching people where inside that of them lives that spirit, and how they can let that spirit just come out and flower, and then giving them the tools to make enough money so that giving is not something that is a luxury. Giving is something that is required.
That's good.
for like air for them to live. And that's what we're really trying to accomplish here with this event, brother.
I love it. And I just pulled it up here, guys. Check this out. You guys see my screen? All right. So this is go.squadupsummit.com or www.squadupsummit.com. Right now there's $600 early bird savings. You save $600 if you sign up now, and you have 8 days left for that as we're recording this right now. Also, if you sign up today, I'm going to give you my $1,500 lease options course.
Wow.
For free. But check this out. Donald Miller, my man. I love him. I've been to his workshops before, talking about story brand, really simplifying your business. And I've not met this lady.
Vina Jetty, really smart. Multifamily genius.
Okay, cool. Designed to raise you to new heights in real estate. What awaits you? Strategies that made us millions. Scale, expand your scope, increase your status. And this is so important, becoming the go-to authority in your market, right? And receive the latest market insights. For me, that's telling me, all right, this is what's happening now. This is what's working today. And this kind of stuff you only get at events like this, right? It's going to be in Orlando. And so many cool videos here. You got to watch this. But Pace and Jamil are the two main guys. Vina Jetty. That'd be cool to meet her.
Donald
she's incredible.
Miller. Yeah, she's raised over $1 billion.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and we all know about Grant having raised $1 billion, right? But like Vina, she's relatively unknown, right? But for a woman to have, and let's face it, a woman of color to have been able to get out there and raise $1 billion in multifamily deals, that is skill.
That's
And
awesome.
so she shows us, and she's going to be talking about how you can raise capital and not have to be Grant Cardone to do it.
Thank God. Not knocking Grant. I'm just saying.
No, I know. It's just like he's got to work hard for what he's got to do, you
He's
know?
got to work really hard. Rub elbows with who's who. You get to rub elbows with me. I don't know if I'm a who's who, but I'll be there rubbing elbows with you.
You're definitely a who's who, my man.
All right, thank you very much. I'm buying the VIP ticket too, by the way.
Awesome.
Upgrade.
Awesome.
I'm gonna get the VIP upgrade. Unlock the strategies and takeaways. Unlock the methods that can turn your business into multi-million-dollar real estate mogul business. Learn things that are proven to work. Yeah, this is good. So good. 3 days.
3 days. We've got offers out to some really incredible other speakers. I can't confirm anyone, but we've got offers out to Jordan Peterson. We've got offers out to Joe Rogan. I mean, I can't really confirm that any of these folks will be there. Mel Robbins, but there are some very close negotiations happening right now where that lineup is going to be even more impressive. And here's the thing, right? What do we typically see at these real estate events? The same people. If you look at 2023 from a perspective of real estate events, and you looked at the posters of every event, it's the same face in a different ordering. It's the same faces. It's always the same faces, the same people. It's the same club of cool kids or people that think they're the cool kids, right? And look, not knocking any of that, right? It's fine. But you go to one of those events, you've gone to all of those events. End of the day, right? And it's always a rah, kind of thing. It's like a guy yelling at the stage, making you kind of feel a little bad about yourself because you don't have, or you're not making the money that guy is making or whatever it is. And in order to find resonance there, it's difficult. It's difficult because you don't see the average person. You don't see the average person who might be like you, because I'm an average guy. You're an average guy. We're just regular dudes, right? Like regular dudes who have just recently gotten our health in order. I mean, if you looked at Joe and I, 15 months ago, I was 80 pounds heavier. He was 40 pounds heavier.
You've lost that much?
We don't got it all together, right? We're a work in progress all the time. We're always constantly improving ourselves and getting after it. We're average human beings doing extraordinary things. And I think that's what's important about what's going to really resonate with people here at the Squad Up Summit is just how many average people are doing extraordinary things and living extraordinary lives, and how if you can just get yourself out of a pattern. And I got to say this, Joe, everything that is a product of a person's life right now is an experience of a pattern. That's it. We're all just products of patterns. And when you can understand that there's specific patterns that you've been doing every day that have gotten you here, whether it be financially, in your relationship, in your spirituality, that these patterns have led you to this spot. And that if you continue in that pattern, this is not going to change. Nothing is going to change. But the only way to change the pattern is to identify the pattern. And when you've identified the pattern, when you're in the pattern, you can create enough space between you and the behavior to insert a change. And when you insert that change and you compound that changed behavior over time, you now get a new pattern. And that new pattern can create a new life. And that new life can be everything you want it to be. And sometimes it just takes a small change. A small change, and it can put you in a trajectory that's so far off the path you're on right now, and it'll open doors and it'll create opportunities for you that you would have never, ever expected, but God did. And that's where we are really hoping that people can find their path, their way, and change whatever pattern they're living in right now to something that's more beneficial and exciting for them.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to being there. I'm looking forward to meeting you all. And again, www.squadupsummit.com. And if you sign up from this video, send an email to support@joemccall.com, and we will send you my $1,500 simple lease options program for free, just as a gift to go through and learn how to flip do lease option deals. All right.
Guys, you know, Joe's one of the best in the industry. And this lease option course, it can make you, you know, millions of dollars. And he's literally giving it to you for free because he's so wanting you to be at this event and he wants to connect with you and he wants to meet you. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of what he's offering you today, because I've never seen such a generous give like that before. I appreciate it so much, Joe. And if anybody who's watching this right now, you would be crazy not to do that. You would be crazy not to do it. And last thing before we wrap, we specifically chose Orlando because we wanted it to be a family-oriented opportunity for you. Now, if you have a spouse and you've got children, Orlando is one of the best places to go for a family-friendly holiday. Now, what's really good about this is that if you do bring your family and go on vacation, this becomes a write-off for you because you're there on business. And it also gives you an opportunity if you've got a partner right now who's maybe a little bit apprehensive about your journey into real estate investing. What is so helpful is when they meet other spouses and other people where they've seen success and they've been able to say, you know what, hang in there, support her or support him a little bit longer. It's going to get better. Life is going to adjust. You're waiting until you get those few deals under your belt and there's $100,000 in your bank. And imagine what that freedom is going to feel like. This is the kind of communion that we're hoping that people will make and have with each other. So bring your families, bring your children, bring your wives, bring your husbands, come and make this a family experience and a business write-off for you. Do it all at the same go. April 23rd, 24th, 25th, Orlando. It's the Hilton Orlando. I recommend you stay at the hotel because most of the networking is going to happen out of session, in the hallways, at lunch, during dinner. So don't wait. Don't wait to book your ticket too late because then you won't get a seat or you won't get a room in the hotel, and then you'll have to like bus in or Uber in and Uber out, and it just gets hectic. There's still plenty of rooms available right now, but it won't last. You know, if you know Pace, you know Joe, you know I, or me, you know that we've got loud mouths, and in the next month or so, this is going to get completely sold out.
It's going to fill up 100%. I know it is. And you get an early bird discount if you sign up right now. Go to www.squatupsummit.com. Thank you so much for your time, Jamil. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Joe. I love you, brother. You know what? When you send Joe that email, write a little blurb on how Joe has impacted you, because I want to compile those little blurbs and I'm going to send them to the bookers at this event because I really, really want Joe on that stage. I think he's going to smash it. He's going to do a phenomenal job. And I want them to see just how he's impacted the people that have watched this today. So send that email to him after you've bought that ticket, and let's get Joe on that stage as well.
I appreciate that, man. Because I'm going to give you guys, again, my $1,500 lease options course for free when you sign up. Send an email to support@joemccall.com, and we'll send that to you. But www.squatupsummit.com. We'll see you guys later, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.